Well, hello, sophomores. World Literature Marx's class for Tuesday, August 24th. Pardon my absence. By this time, you should have downloaded your PDF version as you're going to be filling in the blanks on your guided notes, and I will take you through it now. We are introducing Archetype, tried and true characters and plot, based most likely on the human experience. Why do all of these characters and plots find themselves across cultures and across millennium, if not were it not for these characters and plots present themselves in life, just the common happenings throughout time. So it's real interesting stuff. So here we go. Without further ado, have your notes ready, fill them out, and turn them into this assignment. All right, so Stanley Kunitz said that old myths, old gods, lowercase g, old heroes have never died. They are only sleeping at the bottom of our mind, waiting for our call. We have need for them. They represent the wisdom of our race. Alrighty then. Have you ever had a feeling of deja vu while reading a story, but you are sure you have never read that story before? If so, you are not alone. Psychologist Carl Jung theorized that humans have a collective unconscious, made up of experiences and ideas that we inherit from our ancestors. We are unaware of this unconscious, but it somehow influences how we see the world. Jung came up with his theory to explain why we sometimes instantly recognize characters and situations in myth and literature. He believed that his collective unconscious contained archetypes. An archetype is a model image, personage, or theme that reoccurs in stories and myths throughout history and literature. Think about Thor. Think about Heracles or Hercules, right? Over here in the upper right-hand corner, we see some tried and true archetypal characters. You can pause the video to peruse and check it out. When you study a foreign language and begin to read the literature of that country, you will often discover stories that seem familiar to you as a reader of English. That's because archetypes cross countries and cultures, and you can discuss archetypes with people in different countries and cultures around the world. Some stories from different cultures are familiar to us, even when we know little or nothing about those cultures. Having similar stories in common supports Jung's theory that we are all connected in some unconscious way. And consider this when we're trying to make connections with other people and throwing out previous notions that we're not connected, that we're so different in every way. We want to bring togetherness with one another, don't we? Let's take a look at the archetypal lens. Carl Jung defines an archetype as a figure that repeats itself in the course of history wherever a creative fantasy is fully manifested. Critics note things like themes, characters, and situations that reoccur through different genres of literature and or periods of time. Archetypal critics assert that almost all writing can be connected to other pieces through this lens. We are going to bypass this game until we meet again. I'll see you in class on Thursday, and we'll check this out. Okay, so continue your notes. We're going to look at images. Number one, area of study number one. Images that are similarly deployed across texts, motifs like colors. Red for blood or anger, black for, a mysterious or unknown, white for purity, female gods. How about these images? The elements. Water oftentimes means life or purification. You can include the extra things that I'm saying in your notes, by the way. Sun and moon. Sun is often a life giver, sometimes destroyed. Moon is mysterious, a bringer of darkness, a beacon in the night. These are all different archetypal images. Let's take a look at colors. It says round one because we would have played a game if I was there, and we'll try and play one when you see me next. Red often equals passion, violence, and danger. Blue, a calmness and serenity. Black, darkness, mysterious. Archetypal colors, white often equals purity. Green, growth and fertility. That makes sense, right? Plants and things. Yellow, happiness. But sometimes yellow can also be insanity, as in the short story, The Yellow Wallpaper. Let's look at archetypal animals and vegetation. We know the snake often represents Satan or evil. Why is that? Write down your answer. Dove is a symbol of peace. Apple often signifies temptation, which is kind of funny because when you go to the biblical account of the apple, it never really specifically says that the fruit that the snake presented from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and all of that was in fact an apple, right? And know this, all of you boys, that if you read the biblical account, Adam was present and he said nothing to deter his wife, and so they were both to blame. Olive tree is often a symbol of forgiveness and archetypal vegetation, pardon me. Dogs, of course, represent loyalty, archetypal animals. The oak tree stands for strength, right? Thor, oaken shield. The hazel tree often stands for wisdom and knowledge. This will be all part of our game, so make sure you have these notes down. Let's look at archetypal shapes, weather and seasons presented in stories from across the globe. Circles can stand for life or infinity. The sun stands for happiness, light. The sun is often masculine. The moon is often feminine. Presents an archetypal idea of light within darkness. It's cyclical, the moon cycle. Rain equals life. Clouds and mist equal concealment. Rainbow often stands for peace, harmony, future promise. The spring often equals birth or life. The summer often stands for growth, or ripening, or childhood. The fall or autumn can stand for maturity or old age. Kind of makes sense because oftentimes we think about things dying out in the winter. So fall would be the age before then, and then of course spring is a rebirth. And there you go, winter, death. Let's look at character archetypes, one of my favorites. Characters are often transcend time. They transcend time, place, and genre. Below are some archetype examples. The tragic hero. We're going to dive deep into the tragic hero throughout this year, so pay attention. The tragic hero is often a heroic protagonist whose major flaws lead to their downfall. They're not always super good in the end. Romeo can be considered a tragic hero. And now going to our everyday life, what the fictional narrative archetypal tragic hero come from, we can look at Lance Armstrong, right? He starts off and he's this seminal, pinnacled representation of a hero, and look what we find out in the end. Think of other people who would represent this, and I think you might know who I'm talking about. Okay? The outcast is an archetypal character. The outcast is the underdog or shunned protagonist, often secretly gifted in some way. Frodo is a bit of an outcast. If you think about Tolkien describing Frodo and even Bilbo as being odd in comparison to other Hobbit people. They're not supposed to go out and adventure, but they do. The sage, I love this character, someone older and wiser who guides the hero. Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Gandalf, these are all tried and true archetypal characters. The sage or the mentor character. Okay. Was that right? Let's go back one. Area 2, we did shapes. Okay. Here we are. Round 4, character archetypes continued. So Harry Potter is a hero. Neville Longbottom is the underdog. The Dursley is a threshold guardian. Dumbledore is often the mentor sage. Fred and George, jester, trickster. Draco Malfoy can be our archetypal bully. Voldemort, don't say the name, is the villain, the shadow. Ron and Hermione, They're allies, friends. Who's another ally, friend? Let's go to Tolkien. That would be Samwise. Samwise. Okay. Area Study 3, situational archetypes. The hero's journey. The protagonist is called to action, helps the disadvantaged characters in some way, returns with humility, but is glorified. Remember that the hero's journey, the hero can't be the hero without the mentor or the sage, pushing them through the first threshold on their own. So they push them through, and we're going to be interrupted here with that test. La Loli, Cha Chu Chi,
3,
Babu B.
4, 5,
Okay.
6, 7, 8,
Yes.
9, 10.
Knock it off. Today. I. Feel. Like the luckiest man in the world. You know what? Lou Gehrig of the New York Yankees might be considered a tragic hero in some ways, right? Brought down by the disease. Okay, situational archetype, the apocalypse, Armageddon, zombies, sickness. Do you guys believe in the zombie apocalypse? I'm sure that you do. The loss of innocence is a situational archetypal. Sweet Moses. All right, a character experience. Oh my goodness.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Killing me.
6,
Strumming my pain with his fingers.
8,
Singing
9,
my life with his words.
11,
11.
12,
Yes.
13,
Why not?
14,
Sure.
15, 16,
You're killing me, Smalls.
17, 18, 19, 20.
All right. Loss of innocence. Read it, write it down. Here we go. What makes a hero? I'm going to pass that up and I'll embed the video somewhere. Okay, so plot archetypes. The Chronicles of Narnia, Alice in Wonderland, Journey to the Underworld, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. This is the archetypal plot is considered a rebirth, right? Rebirth is the type of archetypal plot. Dracula, Jack of the Beanstalk, Overcoming the Monster. The Ugly Duckling, The Princess Diaries. These would be the rags to riches story, right? The tried and true stories. Rebirth, Overcoming the Monster, rags to riches. Shrek, Star Wars, Harry Potter is obviously the hero's journey, and so forth. And that is where we're going to call it. Guys, we are going to embed the video for you to watch. And then I want you to take a look at the archetypal assignment that I'm also going to include in modules. You can read it for yourself. Have a very good day. Be kind to your substitute teacher, your guest teacher. And of course, as always, may the force be with you all.